I love that opening. There's so many movie references. Hello, everyone. I'm back. I'm back on a Sunday. I decided to move our video premieres back to Sundays. I used to be on Sundays too. I used to actually post 2 a week, but that was a very ambitious schedule. So now we're back on Sundays, and let's see how this goes. So today I'm taking a look at Ren's Children of the Moon, which is one of the few in his catalog that I have left to take a look at. So far I've really been enjoying Ren's videos so much, and I think a lot of his fans with me. As a matter of fact, very recently I was in Brighton and I ran into the Druid's Head, the pub where they filmed some self-portrait. That was so fun because I didn't expect it at all. I didn't go looking for it, but I immediately recognized it. So that was such a fun little thing to just run into. What we do here on the channel is I'm a filmmaker and I love music videos so much, and I love taking a look at them and kind of deconstructing them from the filmmaker's perspective. That way I kind of hope to add to your experience and appreciation of everything that these artists put into their music videos. I personally mostly work in horror and science fiction and some documentary work as well. I also have a Patreon where you can see some of my work, you can read some of my short stories, and a whole bunch more. So if that's something you're interested in, go check that out. You can also buy me a coffee on Ko-fi if Patreon isn't for you. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it a lot. All right, without further ado though, let's get into Ren's Children of the Moon.
Children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows and we never see the sun. Creatures of this city, and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum. I said, oh, can I get that rhythm that sends shivers down your spine in the sewers of the city?
I love that opening. There's so many movie references, so I had to just pause it and kind of dig back into that. Let's take a look. So this is the shot that we open on. Really beautiful here, and you can tell that they chose to shoot this in black and white very intentionally because it is lit to shoot black and white, which is quite harsh lighting, and they're actually playing with the shadows on the walls here. So normally when you're filming, like having such stark shadows on a wall is something that you try to avoid as a DP because sometimes it can distract. But often when you're filming black and white, it can actually be really fun and really interesting to see. So we have these great titles. We have a little bit of like a grainy effect, and then as if it's like old video. Really works quite well. And so this is what I'm talking about as well. It's like you can see this outline and you almost see it better than you see her, but it becomes such a beautiful contrast between her paler face and the shadow on the wall. And I always love that. I also just recently looked at Tim Burton's video for Lady Gaga. And that one was also just really wonderful, where they specifically filmed it for black and white, and you can really see how they're just painting with the shadows as well. And you see that they tried to do that here too. Feels very Alfred Hitchcock in this, specifically also with like the axe and the door and the shadows. And then we have this hand in front of the door. And I immediately got Dawn of the Dead, so I wasn't surprised that very shortly thereafter we see a zombie. So if you haven't seen that film, it's directed by George Romero, who's like the godfather of zombie films. And this feels very visually similar. So it has a little bit of that Hitchcock, but also very, very Romero. And I'm sure that Romero was also inspired by Alfred Hitchcock in the way that certain scenes were shot. So it's really a beautiful homage in that way. Really wonderful work here. Like, it's very emotive, and I love how it's just her. They chose to kind of put her in front of a very clean background, but still have the lines of this black here of the hallway, which is so great because then we see this face appear. Really wonderful. So love the scream. Again, it feels very, very old school horror film that way. And here's our villain. And then this shot here, where they chose to show a little bit of the red of the lips and some of the blood, which is a really fun color grading trick right there. It gives a little life to what we're seeing, and also helps in the transition to the color part of the video. So this also reminds me a little bit of Sin City, which is a 2005 film. Really, 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 really cool film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's very moody. It's also a black and white film, but it has like it's an action film. It was by Robert Rodriguez, and just has all of these little bits of color in what is otherwise black and white. So absolutely love that. And then we transition to this part, Children of the Moon. I absolutely love this. If you've seen the original Dawn of the Dead, it also opens on a graveyard, and that's where they first see the zombies. And it's also like set in like a little bit of a fall setting, and it's very moody. And so this definitely reminds me of that as well. So very cool. I love this costume and the makeup here. So, and that's where we see our first zombie. So let's keep playing from here, and then we'll see where we go. I love this shot though. There's some great leading lines here, and then we have the zombie in the foreground. So let's see.
Can I get that rhythm that sends shivers down your spine? In the sewers of the city we will wait until the night. When the night's black ink holds the moon in the sky, we will take to these streets where we beast move with pride. It's a Children of the Moon intervention, with a hairs that stand on end when you feel tension. A different breed, with a scabs, with a scum, with a grit, with a grind. And we dance to a very different a time that was not long ago, there lived a little boy infected by the evils of this world. In his heart, the madness was growing until he leaked anger into his veins. And when he grew, he didn't grow up, he just grew more and more insane. He felt pain in his brain, flames, blisters, bloodstains, bipolar hurricanes. Tried to remain sane, no, but it's in vain. Burning up in flames, oh, what fun, fun, dance to the drum, drum, drum.
Oh, let's pause that again. I have seen so much of Ren's work since, and this is one of his earlier videos, so this one was done 6 years ago, and it's so fun to see how much of what he is doing now is already present here. So I'm absolutely enjoying and loving this song, by the way. It's so strangely upbeat compared to some of the lyrics here and some of the visuals especially, so really, really enjoying that. So obviously we start with the zombie, and then Ren is revealed here in sort of this, is it an elevator maybe? It looks like an old elevator or like a cooling unit or something that they obviously completely marked up on the inside. So there's all these words and like crazy scribbles all over this thing, and I love this. So obviously him in what is supposed to look like a straitjacket, but is actually a long sleeve t-shirt, I think. Yeah, it sells the idea pretty well. You see it's just bound around him, but it works. And he is just, you know, as if he's in like a mental institution here. And we know how much he talks about mental health and always has since. So it's interesting to see that here. And then, to my absolute joyful surprise, we head into this part where they're actually doing an exorcism, which is again a film reference. So I'm actually really happy that I'm filming this right before you know, Halloween, it is the spooky season, so I'm definitely going to make sure this goes out on the weekend before Halloween. But I absolutely love these references, and this is actually filmed really nicely as well. As again, they're really looking at the lights and the shadows, and that's how they create such an atmosphere. Obviously, this was all filmed in probably their own apartments, and I know that they didn't have much of a budget. But what people often forget is that creating good visuals, you don't necessarily need a lot of money. You just need to make sure that whatever it is that you have in front of the lens looks good. Like you don't need an expensive camera necessarily. I am sure that they were filming this not on expensive cinema cameras. They were shooting this on maybe DSLRs. You need to know lighting. Lighting is the most important part of filmmaking, and something that a lot of newer filmmakers really, really underestimate. And so it's all about the light. And so that's why this works so well, and why they're able to create such a beautiful atmosphere here in this exorcism part, because they're really working with the shadows and even depth of field as well, because here we have the cross in the foreground and then the woman is here more in the middle field. So it just works really well. And then they appear as, I think that's supposed to be mimes, not clowns. And if you've been watching videos with me for some time, you know that I'm scared of clowns. So I never like clowns and like face paint like this. It just freaks me out. Even though I know it's not supposed to be a clown, it still gave me goosebumps. I suppose it's also the facial expressions, like that. Tell me that's not a clowny facial expression. Ugh, terrifying. Anyway, like this shot here, that is straight up Pennywise, okay? So yeah. Again though, look at the shadows, look at how beautifully he's posed and how nicely he is shot from like just a slight angle from above, which causes like the dark shadows, right? Because we know that his face is all painted white. There is no black paint around his eyes, so it's painting with shadows essentially. So I absolutely love this shot. It's great, even if it kind of creeps me out. So well done. And yeah, so we're back here, and this to me feels like such a quintessentially The Exorcist shot. Just the girl on the bed with the priest in front and trying to exorcise the demons. Great stuff. Great stuff. So let's continue watching. We'll watch it all the way through, and I'll come back to you then.
Dance to the drum, drum, drum. Children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows, so we never see the sun. Creatures of this city, and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum. We weave through the city like a poisonous thread. We're not quite living, but we're not quite dead. We all sing along to a very different tune. We are the children that worship the moon. We are the children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows and we never see the sun. Creatures of the city, and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum.
Oh, I absolutely love that. That was so cool. What a creepy ending as well. Oh, so this part. Again, it's so beautifully lit. I love the shadows here. I love how dark everything is outside of Ren and this guy. It's so fun to see some of the references, or think now of some of the references that he used in his newer videos referencing this too, because I'm also really thinking about Slaughterhouse, where we had this sort of similar doctor setting with like a surgery type thing, but bigger budget and like bigger scope and everything. And it's like they're expanding the Reniverse. But yeah, this is really cool. Again, like very horror movie. Obviously, there are so many films that sort of are set in that hospital, mental hospital sort of setting. Absolutely adore this lighting. This is just beautiful. What a great shot. So we briefly see some of these creepy tools that he's going to perform surgery with. I love that this guy was also mouthing some of the lyrics at some point. Very cool. And then, as always, and I especially noticed here in this part, Ren is such an emotive performer, so expressive and so kind of over the top hysterical, and these sort of elements you can just tell. And I mean it in the best possible way, by the way, because I know that you can say that in a negative way, but I mean it in the best possible way, where he is just showing us all of the feelings, and like he is supposed to be sort of like a wacky surgeon here, right? So he is doing that really well, and he uses his body and he uses his face to really come across as this kooky sort of villain type. And then they do this surgery thing here, and he reveals this organ, which they must have sourced at like a butcher or something, because I don't know what that is, but it's looking disgusting. And this is just such a fun part, and it's funny because the part with the exorcism is relatively serious compared to this one, so he just fully went all in on this part, which it's just so fun. And then there was something I noticed here as well, is there's these moving shadows on the walls, and I wasn't quite sure. Did you see? And I wasn't quite sure how they achieved that. I would be so curious, because that doesn't seem to be her shadow. It might be his but I think that might be a little bit of special editing VFX magic right there, which is really, really cool. It gives it just that little special creepy added layer to this scene. Thought that was absolutely spectacular. So yeah, great job. Again, I love the lighting on all of this. It's like very much a spotlight. It almost looks like they're still lighting it for black and white, except here it is with color. And it gives his eyes such a... I mean, you can see the color of his eyes really well here, which is so interesting to see. Really reflects a lot of light. Really, really beautiful. What a fun video. What a great song. And so cool to see where he's, gone since. And I'm just so excited to see his success and his growth. And I'm excited for everything else that he's putting out. Now, let me know if there's anything that you're doing for Halloween. I'd love to know if you do dress up, what you're going to be dressed up as. We don't really celebrate Halloween here in the Netherlands. I'm back in the Netherlands, by the way, and we'll be here. We finished our, if you've been around here, I currently am still on my sailboat, and we completed our circumnavigation of the UK over this summer, which is why I was in Brighton. That was our final stop in the UK before we crossed over the channel back to mainland Europe, if you will, the continent, and sailed back to the Netherlands, which is where we are now. So yeah, my point being, we don't celebrate Halloween here, but I always loved it while we were in the US. So yeah, let me know. I'd love to know. So enjoy the spooky season. Let me know if you've seen Dawn of the Dead or any of the films referenced here. They're such great films also to just rewatch and just enjoy some of that film history. So go have fun with that. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like so we can reach more people. You can find me on Patreon, and you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi if that's something you're interested in. If you enjoyed this video, that is. I would definitely appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Please take care. Peace.
Children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows, so we never see the sun. Creatures of this city, and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different